God has created your wings not to be dormant. As long as you are alive, you must use your wings more and more to show you're alive, says Rumi. We love Rumi. This is the last Sunday in March, and the theme for March from Centers for Spiritual Living has been be truthful in facts and motives. We're not going to go anywhere in our own personal lives or in solving anything in the world until we're really honest with ourselves, right? I have found that I have to be truly honest to me about what may be going on and how I'm responding or reacting to it. Then I can do my work, and that involves integrity, which is the value for the month. And today, we have a very long title, but a shorter talk than the title, I hope. The Joyful Journey from Fearful Facts to a Faith-Filled Future. Oh, I know. It's all right. The sky is not falling. It takes integrity to refuse the verdict of what they say. Whether it is, ain't it awful out there, things aren't going to get better, or here's a diagnosis, you're stuck with it, or something that comes out of the blue that isn't what you were expecting. For us, it takes integrity to say, wait a minute, that may be happening out here. It may be happening even in my own household, but it's not the universal, infinite, eternal truth. And I wish to maintain my integrity by returning to that place before I react. I wish to say, there is something going on, doesn't feel quite right, hurts a little bit here or there, I don't understand something, I'm a little confused, but let's wait a minute, let's pull back, take that breath. Go back inside to your heart, to your soul, and remember that there is only one life, and that life is God's life, that life is your life, and my life, and the life of all the people that we may be dealing with. It is the life of every circumstance that's going on. God is still there. Doesn't disappear just because something's happening that's unpleasant. And so we refuse the verdict about what they're telling us, and then we can face the facts. I want to face the facts, and I want to face them without fear. You know, we are told by Ernest Holmes that it's a good idea to take what we're doing seriously, but not to take ourselves too seriously while we're doing it. And that appeals very much to me. I want to have a smile on my soul, or at least in my heart, when I'm facing something that needs to be handled spiritually. Because I can't do it by rearranging the furniture out here in my world. I need to go back inside and find that secret, sacred place and have it not be so secret anymore. So we want to move with grace and ease. See, we move with grace and ease. We move with grace and ease through walking through whatever else may be going on that we would have resisted. We relinquish erroneous suppositions like, well, it's never going to change. It's always going to be that way. That's just how she is. We need to be willing to relinquish those erroneous suppositions from our consciousness and replace them with what? Solid truth. Solid truth. So Chicken Little, as we were sharing with the kids this morning, or Henny Penny, we all grew up with that, right? Most of us. They were not correct in their assessment of the sky falling and created a panic. Remember those 15th century Europeans who believed that the world was flat? They were just as wrong as Henny Penny. Can you imagine, though, the panic? For the people who believed in it, like, you get to the end and you could fall off. And there be monsters. What are we allowing ourselves to get panicked about these days? Not this group. Nothing at all, right? Nothing at all. But some of the people you know, maybe even a few whose initials you sign from time to time, can begin to react to something. It's just a human thing to do. Let's not blame ourselves for having humanness. It's fun to have humanness. But we're so much more than that. Then when we come to something that scares or hurts or confuses, that's when we want to go back to the original awareness that there is God and nothing else. First cause, that which brings everything about from its own life, from its own beingness, and you and I are a part of that, an integral part of it, and we're co-creators with the infinite. So we want to, we have a longing, a real longing. It's a soul hunger, I think, to come back to the awareness of who we truly are and what this world is truly designed to be. And that longing helps us enter into a deepening faith. Our faith is always deepening. And then it lifts us, that faith lifts us to a cosmic view we can see from a place that is more real, more true, more lasting. So let's release some of the false beliefs. Let's think a little bit about those false beliefs some of us may still be harboring. And if I called on any of you, you might be able to come up with others that I haven't thought of yet, but you don't need to. Because we're in the process of reversing them, transforming them. Life isn't fair. Is that one you'd like to release? Have you ever heard it? Coming out of your mouth? People are out to get me. I'm too old. Women will never achieve equity. I once heard a woman say, what was it? She said, what is it about women wanting to be equal to men? And a man said, really, they're superior to men. Why would you want that? And she said, thank you very much, but what we really desire is equity, which is we do what you do, and we're all paid the same. So it's time for us to get over the belief that there's any reason for anyone not to be completely successful at what they choose to do. No matter the ethnicity, no matter the gender, no matter anything else that may be different. What's another one? And this is one I think we all need to be working on. Hatred will never go away. Yes, it will. Yes, you got another one?
My mom had a famous one. Fix one, two, break.
Fix one, two, break. That's a wonderful one. Have you released that one and transformed it, my dear?
Every time I get something fixed, I try to...
This is good. Okay, I'm not going to use that one at all. In fact, I did this at break time in class a week ago Thursday, and Reverend Mike and I decided we're no longer calling it break time, we're going to call it intermission. So, yeah, Jane, that's a good one to release also. And it's too late. It's never too late. There's no time. There's no space in the mind of God. You and I live and dwell and have our being in that mind. So right here, right now, is the powerful moment where we can choose differently. So let's become a little bit aware. Not so it scares us, because we're in the process of moving away from fear. And what is on the other side? If you could see what's on the other side of fear, what's there? Nothing. Say it with me. Nothing. Because there's no reality to it. We keep it alive with our focus upon it, right? And so we want to withdraw our focus from it. And we want to supplant those previously erroneous ideas with true affirmations. Affirmations have their place in this teaching. You get one every Sunday when you come in here, right? And it has to do with what we happen to be focusing on that day. But an affirmation, affirm means what? To make firm. We want to make firm a newer, truer idea within ourselves. Yeah? And that's why we focus upon that, change our mind, and there's a transformation that's just beautiful. We want to let life stir within us and motivate us to begin anew. Motivate us to begin anew. So instead of fearing conditions, we can invite wisdom to emerge and show us the way. And rather than what is going to happen, I like to ask, what is mine to do? I have within me all the power, all the presence, all the wisdom, all the love, all the ingenuity, all the creativity I need because it all comes from Source. So what is mine to do today as I am fearlessly facing whatever is trying to get my attention? I love what Helen Keller said. It's wonderful to climb the liquid mountains of the sky. Behind me and before me is God, and I have no fears. And I have no fears. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. How many of you are familiar with the books or the movies? Many of you have children, grandchildren in your life. Do you remember the Dementors? The Dementors are the dark creatures who feed on the happy emotions of humans. And if they come down and kiss you, they had them all over the ceiling too, and they kept coming down. We got out of there. Boy, we got out of there just in time. It was amazing that if the Dementor kisses you, it sucks out your soul. All right, let's make this a little less theatrical and bring it into our everyday life. Are there any so-called Dementors in your life? And if you are happy, they feed on those emotions and want to take them away from you, bring you down into the ain't it awful, misery loves company. The young wizards were told to look at them and to bring in something that was a happy, wonderful, loving, creative thought, to think about someone they loved, to think about something happy, and they would not have anything to do with them then because they were focusing. It takes discipline. Discipline, is loving yourself enough to do what is good for you. I love that definition of discipline. And what's good for me is to keep my attention on what is true and what is beautiful and what is of good report, and not give in to the Dementors. So, this can be a joyful practice. We don't have to be afraid of the fear. We don't have to get into the ain't it awful. It's better that we don't. And this joyful practice works. It works. I walked all over New York like this yesterday and last night, joyfully and happily engaging with people and enjoying the sights and the sounds and the smells and just being in this thrilling, exciting place, and then coming home to what friends of ours in New York call the country. We live in the country. I didn't realize that. And how sweet it is then to come home, as we come home to the presence of peace and love within us, as we enjoy the bright lights and then come home to that center of the divine that's within us all, and to be able to see that and connect with it in every other sentient being. We can do our work with serenity. We can do our work with joy. And our longing to enter into deep faith lifts us to that cosmic view, that liquid mountains of the sky that Helen Keller spoke about. So what new images are we ready to bring about an inspired future for ourselves, for this community, and for the greater community, for the world itself? what are those images that can impel us toward a truly faith-filled future? What can it look like? The more we imagine, and that's a beautiful power of imagination that we were all given, the more we imagine what it can look like, the more we begin to develop a larger, broader, higher, more cosmic view, not only individually, but all of us together, the sooner we're going to have this heaven on earth. But we need to reveal the heaven on earth. It's not a matter of pulling it in or down or around. It's here. We don't recognize it. We are the ones who can begin to let that presence within us inspire us to be the co-creators that we're here to be. It's not wizardly. We spoke last week about not magic, it's not waving the magic, it's not wishing, it's not hoping, it's knowing. And we get to continue to know individually and together how powerful we truly are. Whether you're a wizard or a muggle, we have the power within us, and it's vast. It's practical application of principle. Would you be willing to choose one fear or concern that you have perhaps today, to think about it this afternoon, and to remember one in consciousness with God constitutes a complete majority. Just one in consciousness with the divine wisdom and love of the universe constitutes a majority. You don't have to get agreement from a whole lot of people. You have the agreement already from that divine presence within each of us. And from this mountaintop place, let's look squarely in the face of what that fear or that concern may be. I'm not afraid of you. You don't scare me. I know what's on the other side of you. Nothing. Because I'm not going to feed this anymore. It only grows if we feed it. Rather, we wish to say, with a smile, I see beyond to the infinite possibilities. Would you like to be free of just one of those beliefs? Can you think of one? Would you like to give some time to this later today to decide what's one thing? I'm only asking you to do one thing. Think of some condition or some upset or something you don't really want to think about because you don't think you have the power to change it. And please hear this. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because nobody out there needs to change anything. No condition out there needs to be different. I get to breathe deeply and say to myself, there is a power within me that's greater than I am, and I am using it for good right now. And I have the capability. And I choose now to be a divine co-creator and transfer that out and bring in a new positive idea, a beautiful affirmation that I choose. Every time I begin to think of that, I'm going to bring this in its place. Will you say with me, I am free of erroneous beliefs. I embrace faith with all my heart. I journey joyfully. I co-create an inspired future. And so, my beloveds, beginneth our lesson.